So now we have reached the performance module. When we click on the performance module, we can see appraisal cycle, appraisals, skill metrics, goals and KRA, and performance reports. If we click on appraisal cycle, we can see the appraisal cycle. From here, super admin and HR can create the appraisal cycle for their company. Let's say we have created the appraisal cycle for 2025. In the description, we can mention that this is an appraisal cycle. Here, we can add the first date and the last date. For this, we will choose January 1st, 2025 as the start date. For the end date, we will choose December 31st, 2025, and then hit the Create Cycle button. Super admin can also create the goals and KRAs for the company for that appraisal. If we click on New KRA, we can select the position employees. Then we can add the percentage. For example, we can set the percentage of this KRA as 25%, and the KRA title is Communication. We can also add a description and environment criteria. After that, we click the KRA, and then create another KRA for the employee. The percentage will be 75%, and the KRA title will be Development. Then we hit the Create KRM button. As we can see, the two KRAs have been created successfully. Now, let's move to the skill metrics. Here, super admin and HR can also create the skills for their companies. For example, we can enter the skill name, such as .NET. In the category, we can add programming. We can also add a description and the skill level. The skill level ranges from 1 to 5. The minimum rating will be 1, and the maximum will be 5. Then we hit the Create Skills button. This covers everything for the super admin. Super admin and HR can also create the appraisal cycle. In skill metrics, they can create skills. For goals and career, they can create new KRAs and goals. In appraisal, super admin, manager, and employee can create self-assessments for themselves, and HR and managers can also create self-assessments for the employees working under them. Here, we can see the means. So these are all the features available from the super admin side. Now, let's move to the employee side. We will show a better picture of how the employee can use the performance module. Now we log in as an employee. Here, we can see there are no asset skills, no current rating, no overall rating, and no total skills. There is also no appraisal available. To start, the employee needs to go to the appraisal section. Next, we click on Self-Assessment. We select the appraisal cycle and then choose the KRA, which has been created by the admin or HR manager. When we click on Development, we can give ourselves a rating, for example, 4. We can also add additional information and an evidence URL. After that, we click the button. Now, the status shows as drafted. The self-assessment has been sent to the hire manager. We can also create a self-assessment for the next KRA, which is Communication. Let's check. Yes, we have already created the development assessment. Now, for Communication, we click on Appraisal Cycle, then select Communication and add the rating. For example, we rate it 5. When we hit the Create Self-Assessment button, the self-assessment for both KRAs is created. In the skills metrics, we can add skills for ourselves. After adding skills, we can select them and add notes, for example, .NET Developer. Now, we can see the employee name, skill name, and proficiency level. The proficiency level is currently 1 because employees are not allowed to assess their own skills. The skills will be assessed by their manager, so the status shows Pending Assessment. If a skill has not been set, we can also delete it and add new skills. Now, when we go to My Performance, we still see there is no asset skill because the skill has not been assessed by the manager yet. Let's go to the manager side and see how manager assessed the skills and create appraisal for this employee. So now we are logged in as a manager. Here, we can see in the notifications that we have received a notification. The notification tells us that Mike Hassan has submitted a self-assessment. When we click on this notification, we are taken to that page. In the self-assessment section, we can create the self-assessment for that employee who has already started it. Here, we can create the appraisal for the employee who has completed the self-assessment. For example, we can give a rating for development. Let's say 4. For communication, we can give 5. We can also add feedback, such as needs improvement in communication. In the feedback area, we can enter the same information under improvement criteria. We can also add a development plan and create the appraisal. Now, we can see that the appraisal has been created for that employee. When we click on Skill Matrix, we can see the pending assessment for that employee. This has been shown to us. When we click on Rate Skills under Actions, we can add the level of proficiency. For example, we can rate the skills at 4%. It is important to mention that the skill matrix is not related to the appraisal. The company can add any skills at any time, and employees can also add skills to their profiles whenever they want. The appraisal is the main process, and it is created every year. On the manager side, we can also see that the manager can create a self-assessment for themselves. If the employee has not created a self-assessment, the manager can also create the self-assessment for them. There is no restriction. The employee does not always need to create the self-assessment. If the employee has not done it, the manager can do it. So, managers can create self-assessments for themselves, and these self-assessments will be shown to their higher manager. This means that managers who report to a higher manager will have their self-assessments reviewed by them. This covers everything from the manager's side. One more thing. In the skill matrix under Skill Set, the manager can also add skills. They can click on My Skills and add skills to their own profile. When they click, they can enter notes such as IM.net tab, and here we can see the pending assessment. This assessment will be sent to their higher manager, who can also rate their skills. Now, let's move to the employee side and check if the skills have been added to the employee. We can also show the rating and check if the rating is being shown for that appraisal or not. We are logging in again as an employee. Here, we can see the current rating, overall rating, and skills. These skills were assessed by the manager. This means the manager has evaluated the employee. Right here, we can also see the appraisals, including the appraisal name, reviewer, type, manager, reviewer name, rating, and feedback. We notice that the feedback mentions a need for improvement in communication. All of these details come from the performance module. If we want to go into the appraisals, we can also see the details of the appraisal that has been self-assessed by the employee. After that, an appraisal is created for the employee by the manager. For example, the communication rating was 4.5, and the development rating was 4 out of 5. One important thing to note is that the key results, KR, we create will have their percentages matter. For example, if the percentage for communication is 75% and for development is 25%, the total becomes 100%. The rating will be calculated accordingly. This covers everything from the performance module. In the next module, we will discuss the AI assistant and also the subscription plan.